Hi, folks. Welcome back to Pop Pop Fizzle. I'm Jeff.
I'm Heidi.
And we're back with more Moonlighting. Almost done with this first season.
Yeah.
As crazy as that seems.
Yeah, well, I mean, with 6 episodes, it's not hard to do.
Yeah, this is true. We have been enjoying this ride so far, and it's been interesting to see people kind of catch on to the reactions. We're not having like huge numbers of views, but I think it's fun for some people to find out that people are actually watching this show in 2021.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the point why we chose this show. We wanted to draw some attention to it because we feel like it's getting slept on a bit, at least by, the younger generation that wasn't around for it in its heyday.
Any of it.
A lot of people just have missed what a great show and what an influential show this was for its time. So hopefully we're shining a light on that. And we definitely want to remind you, use hashtag Bring Back Moonlighting unless we think of another better one. But that's it for now. Bring Back Moonlighting. I've used it a few times on Twitter myself. Haven't been looking to see if anybody else is using it, but please feel free to use it. Draw some attention to the show.
Absolutely.
So that maybe... Now, I have learned since the last time we did a reaction that because it was an ABC show and it was wholly owned by ABC is now wholly owned by Disney. So Disney, the ball is in your court.
Yeah, I think we said this last time we speculated.
Well, we speculated that it belongs, that lots of people could have the money to do something, but it belongs to Disney. So Disney, this ball is in your court. You have got the money to pay for these song royalties, support artists, support their songs, their music, and a great show. And add this to the Disney Plus lineup. It's
Absolutely.
a win-win.
I mean, Disney has buckets of money that they have just hanging around to light their fireplaces, and especially in the summertime.
Light their cigars,
yes,
that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the $1,000 bills for those, though.
Right.
Yeah. So there is...
Or like Scrooge McDuck, just to dive into and swim around in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although, that's still Disney. Yep. This is like a Disney Palooza.
Yeah.
But yeah, Disney, you have the money, you have the means, you have the opportunity. There's no reason to not to.
That's right. To not to.
To not to.
Hashtag Bring Back Moonlighting. Please? Okay.
Okay.
We're going to dive into this episode, which is called Next Stop Murder. And we're going to find out what Dave and Maddie are up to next.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of murder in these titles.
They're very murdery.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to jump in and see what David and Maddie are up to. See how many times Maddie quits. Mm-hmm. How many times David has to pull her back.
How many times he gets called David versus Addison.
Yeah. There's all kinds of drinking games you can play with this show.
There are. I'm just Diet Coking today.
Yeah, I don't have anything with me. All right, so we're going to dive in now, and your part of this job is to jump into the comments below. Let us know what you think of this episode. If you want to watch the full uninterrupted version of this and you happen to have these on DVD, which who knows, they're going for crazy money right now, by the way, hundreds of dollars to get these on DVD. Thankfully, I had the first and second season, so we're doing that.
Yes.
But we can, you can see the full uninterrupted version on Patreon, as well as all the other shows that we do if you want to support us there. If not, there's Cash App if you want to do a one-time donation. You don't have to do either. We're glad that you're here.
Yeah, thank you.
If you can't support us in those other ways, though, be sure and hit the thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Yep?
Yes.
All right. That's it. Heidi, any thoughts before we go?
Let's go.
I don't think anything from last episode is going to come in to play here.
No.
Fresh episode, fresh mystery. Here we go.
Yep.
Pointing it at her former beloved's brain. He turns, sees his mistress, sees the gun, there's a scream.
Addison.
Not bad.
J.B. Harlow invites you to a murder. I don't believe it. I won.
You won.
I won.
That's wonderful. What did you win?
The contest. Oh, there's so much to do. I gotta pack. I gotta get my hair done. J.B. Harlan, the greatest mystery.
Mr. Pesto in mixed company?
No, it's not like that. It's better than that.
Better than that?
Better than that.
Come on, I know who that is. He writes Inspector Donut
That's
books.
Inspector Dunay.
Yes. You guys are great. In fact, you're better than great. You're great.
Well, we think you're great too.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Ta-ta.
Ta-ta. Ho-ho.
I feel funny asking, but since I don't know where the train is going, and since I would hate to leave my car sitting at the station...
Say no more, Maddie will be glad to drive you down there.
Saturday night, I have plans.
Haven't you ever heard of Midnight Mass? Trust me, we'll be back in time.
My luck is on the rise. I listen as fate cries. The time is here, so give a cheer. The pesto won a prize.
Aw.
Great.
so soon.
Dear Ms. DePesto, welcome to J.B. Harlan's murder train. I am quite pleased to have you as my special guest and look forward to making your lovely acquaintance. Here's to a good mystery. Your humble servant, J.B. Harlan.
Why do I suspect that J.B. Harlan is going to end up dead on his own murder mystery train?
Well, I think that she took a picture of herself and this girl was in the background.
Together once a year, and they race to solve a mystery designed by J.B. Harlan.
Oh, here's a dead guy.
Kind of button.
No?
Can we leave now?
Nice. Firm. Takes me back to my days at San Quentin.
Oh my gosh.
It's a joke. Come here. Give it a test ride. Good golly, it's almost sunrise here on the old Addison Flyer.
Addison?
Wrong button.
Addison, do something.
What?
Do something!
What?
You did this on purpose.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
My name is Agnes, but my friends call me Miss DePesto.
Hello, Mr. Pesto. Was it good for you too?
Get out.
Man, you do it. I didn't want to do it. I didn't feel we were.
I think she has her dress on backwards.
I hope not.
Do we have to? All my friends go to this school.
This train is moving.
Land of Goshen. She's right.
Addison, figure out a way to get me off this train.
Old lady, I will gladly get you off this train. I will throw you off this train if necessary, but kindly refrain from any physical act that is not of an erotic nature. Not my fault.
They're detectives. Partners at the agency where I work. They were seeing me off and got stuck in the train by accident.
You mean you're both authentic private eyes? I don't believe it. Excuse me.
Are you just going to glare at them, or are you going to invite them to stay?
Well, that wouldn't work at all. JB has written this mystery with 6 players in mind.
So when is this stupid murder supposed to happen anyway?
I was going to say when the lights go out.
Now, I've heard that scream before.
Maybe it's part of the mystery. Maybe he's just faking.
Don't touch that man. You don't know where he's been.
Double standards there, David.
Pretty dead. JB is dead. And it would seem one of us killed him.
Are you talking to his bald head?
I have an idea.
Maybe he thought it was a microphone.
15 years. We've been gathering
Taps
together
his head.
to solve a mystery served up by JB.
Someone without a connection to JB. Someone without a motive.
Someone without luggage.
David, I just don't think.
That's okay. You look good. We have to figure out where to start. What we have here is a dead body.
You saying that I killed him?
I wonder if she didn't hide the murder weapon in her room.
In her room.
In my room?
In her
In your
room?
In her room?
Let me
Dun, 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 dun. Everybody runs.
Come on, gang, let's search for clues.
Scooby-Doo shot of them running back through doors. Oh, whoop. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Besides, it was the engineer.
Good night, Miss DePesto.
Good night, Rodney.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, Scott.
Good night, Sebastian.
Good night, moon. Good night, stars.
John boy.
Hey!
You know, Miss Hayes, it may not show, but I've been around the block. You go around the block enough times and you get scared.
Everyone is scared, Agnes.
Oh, come on, not you.
Not me. Why not? Because I was a model? You think I never cried myself to sleep because the phone didn't ring? You think I never fell in love with a man at night and discovered that I hated him during the day? You think I was never hurt? This smile? This is my scar tissue.
Wow.
I've seen my fair share of blocks too. We're all scared, Agnes. But
And
can't
blockheads,
let it
no doubt.
stop you from getting to where you have to go.
About
A little over 3 hours to go.
ta-da.
Ta-da what?
3.5 hours. What could happen in 3.5 hours? Old Rodney works fast.
Oh, my. Oh, Mr. Addison, Miss Hayes, I found this. It was buried under some paper towels in the trash.
Just 15 minutes more.
Well, the fingerprints came up clear as a bell. There were even traces of blood.
Thank God for fingerprints.
Well, come on, Rodney, out with it. Who's the culprit?
Who?
Who?
You.
Who?
Me?
You.
Ew.
Who's Hugh?
My goose is really cooked. My nerves are really shook. JB is dead. It's on my head. Life is such a rook.
I guess you're wondering why I called you all here.
I've been training for this moment for 24 hours.
I'm here to tell you that our killer is in this room. And it is not Mr. Pesto. Don't get nervous, Rodney. Why shouldn't you be put through the ringer everyone else has?
Fine, fine. But I want it made clear that I care as much about Mr. Pesto as you do.
You know, 8 years is a long time to work for someone. Surprising that a man of Harlan's influence didn't help you publish your books earlier. You identified the prints on this knife as Mr. Pesto's, but they weren't there because I wiped them clean before you got it. The only prints on this knife were mine. But you didn't bother to check that, did you, Rodney? Because you didn't have to. You knew no one in this room was in a position to challenge you.
Sorry it had to end this way, Mr. Pesto. I really liked you.
I don't want to have to kill
Tunnel.
Yep.
Rodney, there's a tunnel coming. I'm sure there is. Rodney, you turn into graffiti. You'll break Mr. Pesto's heart. Rodney, just turn around and look.
I mean, they've got nothing to gain.
If you don't duck down right now, they're gonna find you between Bob loves Mary and Jesus saves.
Oh. What?
It's okay, Maddie. You can open your eyes now. Tell her she can open her eyes. You can open your eyes. Pretty great, uh-huh. Pretty great, uh-huh.
Really?
Apparently, I don't know.
Plane falls out of the sky.
Yeah. A sheep herder up top sees his sheep tumble down.
I need to talk to someone. Woman to woman.
Woman to woman?
Woman to woman.
Woman to woman.
I've noticed, but during the J.B. Harlan murder train trip, I began to develop a deep and meaningful relationship with
Rodney Dillon.
It showed. Well, I guess there's no hiding passion.
Guess not.
Well, I'm sure you're aware, his schedule is rather cluttered for the next 30 years. 22 with good behavior. According to Donahue, I'm at my physical and sexual peak right now.
Well, Donahue ought to know.
Anyway, you know the man who comes by to sell sandwiches in the morning?
Mr. Sandwich?
His name is Neil. He asked me to have dinner with him. Not just sandwiches either. Hot food.
Hot food?
Am I being fair to Rodney?
Well, he did try to frame you.
Yeah, I know.
Besides, one meal does not a romance make.
Yeah, I know.
I'd go.
You would?
Yeah. Good night, Agnes.
Don't you stay too late.
I won't.
Not late.
That's the sound of the man working on the chain gang.
All right, that's it for another Moonlighting. And I have to say, that's one of my favorite episodes so far. I really enjoyed that. All right, Heidi, your thoughts on Next Stop Murder?
Yeah, it wasn't the engineer. The engineer was probably just trucking along like, do-do-do-do. Wonder how that's going back there. Whoop, whoop.
I was sworn I heard a gunshot at one point.
Okay. Lots of screams. I guess that's part of the murder. Do-do-do-do-do. He was a very useful engine.
It's really hard to hear over the engine, you got to say. You know, like he probably didn't know there was screaming
probably
happening.
Not. Probably not. But yeah, so I called that wrong. But yeah, that guy was actually my second guess, but I didn't want to say that.
Oh, sure, you say that now.
No, he kind of was, just because. But the thing is, it was hard because he seemed to really idolize the guy. So it was like, so yes, the guy was stealing his work, but
although you suspected that he was the guy, right?
Yes.
Early on, you suspected
that
he was
the real writer. Yeah.
So you thought the guy that we saw as JB was like
some sort of actor,
a facade or something.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, sort of.
That would definitely be an 80s TV thing to do.
Yes.
For sure. I can totally see that.
Yeah. So, all in all, I did really enjoy this episode a lot more than a couple of the last ones. Not that I didn't enjoy the last ones, but this was really fun.
The writing was on point here.
Yeah.
We didn't, because we had both the constant of Moonlighting, which is the dialogue and the chemistry, but we also had a fun story.
Yeah.
it was firing on all cylinders. Whereas we've had some clunker stories that were saved by the chemistry and the dialogue.
Yeah.
This was a case where everything was firing on all cylinders, and we got more Miss DePesto, who's cute and fun.
She is, but I seem to remember when we were starting off on this that she has terrible luck in guys, like all throughout the series. So I was like, all right, this guy's probably not that great for her either. So yeah, oh well.
But I like that we're seeing, you know, like her connection with Maddie and seeing Miss Hayes as somebody that, you know, because she's another woman in the workplace, even though we've seen other women there, but that she has this connection to Maddie, that Maddie reciprocates somewhat, you know, she's kind to her and you know, has taken an interest, which is good for Miss DePesto. So yeah, just fun. And I liked, you know, a lot of dialogue, a lot of Marx Brothers inspired madness.
Oh, for sure. And we had like a little bit of Scooby-Doo happening there, just a tiny bit.
Yeah. But yeah, to me, this is the show, you know, this is kind of the magic of this show and what made it what it was in its day. Thankfully, my Swiss cheese brain, I forget details of these episodes. So I didn't remember who the killer was. I didn't remember that at all. But yeah, I remember that it was the chemistry of David and Maddie that made this show fly. And you really see that in episodes like this where the dialogue is fast and heavy. I believe the creator has said that they would write like double the amount of script that most shows would have for a 45-minute episode. They would have like 90 pages. Yeah. And it was just keep it coming fast, keep it going fast. You know, the pace was kind of relentless. So, and that shows in those moments where, and it really adds to the chemistry of David and Maddie, not only when they're arguing and when they're both talking over each other, but also just in that opening scene when they're finding out about Miss DePesto getting invited to this thing, the whole great conversation that all three of them are playing this word game. Mm-hmm. And it's cute because we understand where everybody's coming from. Miss DePesto is just excited. Who she is. Yeah. She's just excited, and she's sweet and innocent, and that's just her personality. And then you have the kind of back and forth between David and Maddie, both in respect to being happy for her and trying to, you know, allow her to leave and enjoy this moment, this feeling or whatever, but also just the kind of, you know, trying to stay under each other's skin and all of that. Like, all of that stuff really works. I think the writing has really done those characters justice in these first few episodes. Yeah,
that was a lot of fun. Just a little tiny nitpick as far as the murder is concerned. He looked like he had like a couple spoonfuls of SpaghettiOs thrown on his shirt. I was like, how is...
Yeah,
I couldn't tell how he was killed, actually.
And I mean, they came out and said that the murder weapon was the knife, but did they ever say that he was stabbed? Nope. I never got that part.
Nope.
So, but I looked at it and I was like, was he shot or what happened?
No, somebody threw SpaghettiOs at him.
Well, they are deadly.
Yes. With their ring shape and pasta-ishness.
Sure.
But yeah, it was like...
and all those things inside them that you can't really pronounce if you read the label.
Yes, this is true too. Yeah. It's okay. Sometimes I get a hankering. It's okay.
You don't get a hankering for SpaghettiOs. What do you get a hankering for, dear?
What?
I said it's not SpaghettiOs.
No, it really isn't. Although,
what is it?
ABCs and 1, 2, 3s with meatballs. Mm-hmm. With the mini meatballs.
See, you had to fess up.
I did. It's okay.
You brought it up, but now you got to fess up.
Once every 2 or 3 years, I feel like I need a can of those, and I have a can of those, and I'm like, oh, I didn't want that.
That's okay.
That's okay. But yeah, so we really couldn't tell how he was killed. Was it poison? Was it stabbing? Was it you just know that he was dead. That was it.
It was just in the script.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. They're like, he's dead. What do we do? How do we just make him look dead?
But what I like about this, and I think this is kind of the strength of Moonlighting, is that yes, there is an actual mystery happening, but it's not important. No. Like, it's only important because it applies to characters that we care about. It's not important, really, who did what, how, and when.
No.
It's just important that we clear Miss DePesto, that David and Maddie survived their 24 hours on the train. Yeah. That's really all that matters. So it's all very hand-wavy, and I'm okay with it. Because that's not what you're coming to Moonlighting for.
No, absolutely not. This is definitely not one of those hard detective shows, procedurals, or anything like that. Absolutely not.
And I think that's what makes it a lot of fun, because you don't have to worry about that stuff. You know, it's just kind of whatever.
It's just the background story so that we can get to the real characters.
But I love that he sold that whole story about the knife, and then he was like, hang on to that. It's got Mr. Pesto's print all over it.
And then what was that story about him in the blackout? I swear that had to have been ad-libbed. I wish that we could go and find out about that. I'm not sure if we have any whatever
resources to check out.
Anything like we have director's cut where we have like people talking about it or anything like that. I really do feel like that had to have been ad-libbed.
Maybe elements of it, but I'm sure they wouldn't have just let him go with that lengthy a spiel without having some guidance. But
make up a story.
I wanted to bring up something though that I noticed, and maybe just because I had watched something about it, but I had watched a behind the scenes feature where they were talking about some of the directors that they had and things, and because they had some directors that came from like the really old school Hollywood thing, that when they would film Sybil Shepherd, I don't know if you've noticed, but anytime they're filming her separately and she's not in a group shot, there's almost always this hazy, blurry thing. Like it's a really gauzy, romantic-y thing. And anytime she's in a group shot or next to David, it's a clean cut shot. Yeah. But anytime it's just her, it's like
glow.
Right. And it became such a joke that they did in some behind the scenes stuff. There's a or maybe it's a pre-credit, maybe it's a episode intro thing that they do later on, where someone confronts her with a camera and she's like, "Oh, wait a minute, I'll be right back." And she closes the door and she comes back out and is holding like a screen in front of her face to diffuse the light. The light is a joke because people had noticed that it was always really old school Hollywood whenever they showed her.
That was fun though.
But that kind of stuff is fun, and like I don't know that I would have noticed it had they not pointed it out, but I was just like, oh yeah, she's glowing.
She definitely glows.
Yeah. But anyway, I love this. I love these characters. We got one more episode in the season. And we want you guys to let us know, are you on this ride with us? Do you want us to continue on into season 2? Doing these reactions? If so, be sure and let us know with your thumbs up and with your comments. We want to hear from you.
Absolutely.
We will be back with episode 6 next week. And until then, bye.